seems complete. I stand up and I'm searching.
Please state your name and occupation.
My name is Amy Johnson. I'm currently a housewife, but I also was an electrical engineer.
Kay Sandberg. I'm a teaching associate professor in the chemistry department.
My name is Brittany Strawn, and right now I'm a graduate student, actually. But I've worked as a software engineer before.
I'm Leanne Carty, and I'm a teaching associate professor in biomedical engineering.
Where did you receive your post-secondary education, and in what major or field?
I went to North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University in Greensboro, North Carolina, and I majored in electrical engineering.
My PhD is from Duke University in biomedical engineering.
Here at NC State in '98, and I got a PhD in chemistry.
I'm working on my post-secondary education, but actually my bachelor's I received it at North Carolina State University in computer science, and now I'm pursuing my master's of computer science at North Carolina State University as well.
In your own words, how would you describe the glass ceiling?
I think the glass ceiling is when someone due to race, gender, sexual orientation cannot be promoted even though they're qualified, or they're passed over for promotion, but even
For
though.
me, I came along in a time when the glass ceiling was there, but based on, I think, the education I received in science and technology, it was less.
From what I understand, there are some professions where some of the people may not be able to get promoted or salary increase based on not performance, but because on gender or race.
The glass ceiling. Honestly, I don't think I've really experienced it so much because I haven't really fully started my career yet. But I've definitely, as being a major in computer science, I often hear, there's not a lot of women in this field, and so I guess I've experienced the glass ceiling kind of mentally, but it's one of those things I really try not to pay attention to. So I think it's one of those things that you hear about in this field, and it's all about your perspective on it. If that's a concern of yours, then it's going to affect you. For me personally, I try not to concentrate on that factor. So in my mind, I don't see a glass ceiling.
Have you ever experienced a salary difference between you and your male counterparts?
I believe when I first started out at the beginning level, when I got my job, I might have, because they probably knew how to bargain better at getting a starting price. But later I learned the ropes and things and got into programs to help me move up in management, so I didn't experience it as much. Also having things in place where, based on your area you were working in and how much money, what the pay grade was, working with the federal government, you're given pay grades and steps. So basically, if you get working in a certain occupation at a certain grade level and a certain step, you receive a certain amount of pay, so they had to eliminate that.
Not that I'm aware of. To my knowledge, I've always been fairly.
No. There are differences in the type of faculty, and so there is a difference in salaries based on that. But a male counterpart in my exact classification, I do not believe we have a difference in salary.
I have not experienced the salary difference that I know of. Usually I don't really compare. I kind of concentrate on my own, and my pay was good to me, so I wasn't really worried about anybody else.
Have you ever felt less likely to receive a promotion in comparison to your male counterparts?
No, I haven't.
Let me word that question in the sense of, have I ever felt they have a better incentive, or do I feel like there's differences as far as benefits or how the manager looks at a man versus me? And I actually have not experienced that. Once again, I might have had my eyes closed to it because I usually try to kind of focus on what I'm doing and making sure I'm doing my best, and I feel like everything else will fall in place from that. But I haven't really experienced any difference
And I felt like I wouldn't receive the same pay, but once I learned some of the ropes along the way, then I felt more competent and as if I would be treated fairly based on how things
I
systems set up.
haven't, no, not if I was qualified, no.
What challenges do you feel women face in the workforce and academic settings in earning the same respect as men?
I gotta think about that one a little bit. Because and it's funny that I'm doing this documentary now because me and some of my friends actually talked about this a little bit as far as the challenges women face in the workforce and things of that nature. And we kind of talked about, well, she was talking from an Air Force perspective, I know this is engineering, but where there's a lot of physical demand. I hope I don't offend anyone, but I just feel like women are made differently than men are. So I know they were saying in the Air Force, like there's a certain job where they feel like a woman is not physically able to handle the plane. Not saying I believe that's true or not, but I just feel like there are some times where, women and men, we are different. And that's just something to take into account for those types of jobs. As far as something with your mind and how you think, your intellect, once again, it kind of depends on the situation. Sometimes I think it can be a lot mental, though. If you're a woman, you should be confident in who you are and how what you bring to the table. And no matter what, I feel like if you do what you're supposed to do, and you have that type of confidence and that drive, no one's gonna be able to tell you different. I understand that sometimes managers have authority and people can have power to do certain things, but as a woman, I think as long as you're confident in who you are and what you know and what you bring to the table, no matter where you go, people are going to notice you. Because the same people that's out there being biased against women, there's people out there that recognize that we are a force to be reckoned with. So some of the challenges, I say all that to say some of the challenges are mental. You face mental challenges in the workforce, just knowing that there is a disparity out there, just knowing that some people might be looking at you different. I think you come in, if you're feeling like you're the minority or you're feeling like there's something against you, then you face those challenges that way. A personal story. What I mean by that is when in my senior design class, I was on a team with all males, and I just felt this pressure to perform. I was just like, I'm the only female. I know they're probably looking at me that she's the female, and so I felt this pressure to perform. I felt like I just had to do everything right and pull my weight. So there was a pressure I put on myself. My teammates didn't even put that on me. I put it on myself. So that's an example of the mental challenge that I'm talking about.
What challenges do you feel women face in the workforce and academic settings in earning the same respect as men?
Well, for those women who are mothers, I can see how a sick child might keep them from coming into work, and if they're not coming into work, then they're not doing their work that they're getting paid for. I see that more with women than with men, maybe. I do not have children, so I haven't experienced that, but I could see how child care could be an issue.
When I was working in an organization of about 1,000 people. Of those 1,000 people, technical women were probably less than 1% of the organization. Most of you women were secretaries and financial people. So being a woman in science or engineering made it a little less challenging because I saw them in areas and occupations where they would face the glass ceiling because of what they were basically majoring in, what their jobs were.
I think our challenges are somewhat, we choose those challenges. We choose to spend more time with our family. A lot of times we tend to marry men that are older. Women tend to marry men that are a little bit older, which means they're more established in their career. So when decisions are made about careers, we tend to follow what supports the career that makes the most money. The person who's a few years ahead, they're the one that's making the most money. So I think a lot of these things we choose, I think we're also going to see men start to choose those same things. I think family is becoming more important to men as well.
So you feel like the challenges are shifting, or the commonality of choosing family is shifting?
I think it is. I think the dynamic is changing. You're seeing more men take paternity leave now when they never did before. So I think things are becoming where men want the same things that women have wanted. And then things will become equal. But I think that most of the limitations, we knew we were choosing those limitations when we chose them.
How can women overcome and eliminate the glass ceiling or disadvantages that they face?
Just doing the very best that you can without making any excuses, and do the best you can. That's all you can do.
I think they can eliminate it by the type of education they get and how they carry themselves and their personalities. Because men look like at you when you go around and break your fingernail, you scream every time you break your fingernail. Oh, I broke my nail, oh this, oh that. So you learn how to be one of the guys, basically, and you can still be feminine, but everything is not screen time.
I think what women are doing now is definitely working towards it, just bringing awareness to the fact, and doing like researches and just talking to people about it and bringing awareness to the issue. Like I said, once again, that brings on the mental challenges, but at the same time, you open people's eyes to certain things, and when you take a stand, there's a lot of things in American history or in different cultures' history where when people come together and stand for a common cause, things change. And so definitely women getting together and bringing awareness to this, I definitely think that is helping eliminate the glass ceiling. It might be chipping away at it, but eventually glass breaks. And so I definitely think the more we chip away at it and the more you bring awareness to it, it's definitely headed in the right direction.
And I'm not sure that there's anything that a woman can do in particular. I think with time, I think with each generation, things change. I think opinions towards women change. I think they're changing very quickly. An individual person, I'm not sure how much control they have. I mean, we can all work our hardest. We can all present ourselves professionally. I don't think that necessarily makes a difference. I suppose we can lobby for equal treatment for our fellow women, support things that Lily Ledbetter at. But as an individual, I think it's harder. Maybe as a group dynamic, there's more that can be done.
Are there any other instances or stories or pieces of advice you remember that you would like to share at this time?
I think if you can dream it, you can achieve it. It's just a matter of the work you put into it and the ethics you put into it. I remember being in a room with generals and people of different stature and feeling like I didn't belong there because the men would joke about, oh, this boat costs $1,000 and I'm going to give it to my wife. That would be an expensive gift for me to give to my wife. And sitting there as a female, you think, I'm in this room, I'm the only female in this room, so sometimes you hear things that are disturbing and you let them know that it bothers you. If you laugh at everything they laugh at, they won't show you respect. So if you learn to get respect, then I think through getting the respect, they will treat you fairly if they know they just can't treat you any way in the workplace. And also coming along in a time when discrimination cases were going on because of the glass ceiling or racial and other things also help.
In my philosophy of life, I work not for the money, and so I don't pay as much attention to money. I'm not as concerned with what someone else is making. I'm just, I make a contract, I'll agree to work for this amount, and that's what I work for, and I don't worry about what other people are making. Maybe I should, but I'm not in education for the money.
My career was limited by choices I made because I did choose to work part-time for many years. But that's a choice that I would make again. So I think we all have to consider what our own personal balance is, and that's different for everybody. But I think you do have to consider what your personal balance is and what's more important to you.
My perspective is a little different, but I always feel like it's a mental thing. And, you know, when people constantly talk to me about, you know, computer science, you know, I heard there's not a lot of women in that field, and what do you think? And it's one of those things that's never bothered me because I've never really dwelled on it. You know, I just try to look at myself as a person. And so I try not to concentrate on where I'm different from other people, as far as gender, race, or any of those categories. I just look at, you know, I'm in the same boat as far as classes. I'm a student just like everyone else is a student. In the workforce, you know, my internship, I'm an intern just like everyone else is an intern. And when I have that type of perspective, I think it, you know, it kind of lessens the pressure that you feel, or the type of uncomfortable setting of, you know, I'm the only female, or there's not a lot of females here, or there's not a lot of me where I am. If you just try to concentrate on, you know, I'm a student, I'm a worker, you know, I'm an engineer, I'm this, and that's what I am, and I'm going to bring to the table what I can bring to the table, I think that helps dealing with it. Because, like I said, for me, you know, when I came to state, I used to look around the room and I would see like 1 or 2 girls. And, you know, not to even talk about race, because I was like one of few. But, you know, I didn't concentrate on that, and I think that's helped because I've made a lot of different friends. And I've never felt kind of out of place when I've had that type of perspective.
'Cause I am a superwoman. Yes, I am. Yes, she is. Even when I'm a mess, I still put on a vest with an S on my chest. Oh, yes, I'm a superwoman. Yeah. See, this is for